Hello again, guys. It's Gregola Productions here, back again with another episode of the GPWS. No, this isn't the final assembly of this movement here. This is me just testing it and seeing how my little hole closing job has done here. And we seem to have gotten fairly decent results here. Doesn't appear anything's jamming up, so I'm going to take this apart and we'll put the pallet fork and whatnot on. But first, a word from our sponsor on Commercial Carousel.
Slewfoot, Slewfoot. And if you learn to dance it just right, it shouldn't take but half of the night. It is the most lackadaisiest, I mean the craziest slewfoot.
Okay, viewers, we're back from our cleaning process here, and we've got our movement together. And I was screwing around with hole closing here for the first time, and I don't know. I think we've got pretty decent results here. It seems to run smooth. And also, if we take our top plate off, I have, if it will come off, I have done some hole closing on both sides here, because it didn't seem to really work all that well with just one side. So I've kind of experimented with both sides, and it seems to have worked. Apparently, this was a very popular method back in the day, and it's frowned upon these days. I don't really know why. Maybe because the way it looks? I don't know. Probably the way it looks. That's what I'm thinking. Because, like, you can reverse this. Like, you can put a new bushing in there and whatnot. You can adjust. It's not like you make the movement unserviceable by doing that. So yeah, I mean, what's the big deal, right? And for a clock like this, I'm not going to say is it really worth it, because that mentality, it's a mass-produced 20th century clock. It's not worth it. It's like, okay, this is a piece of history too, you guys. And this this would work perfectly fine if I after servicing, and if it didn't have a worn hole. These aren't bad clocks. Maybe they're not desirable. It seems if this stuff isn't desirable, everyone just loses their mind and just automatically throws it in the trash, it seems. This one we've kind of missed, because for reassembly, you can't get this back plate off this piece of steel here. Well, Greg, how the heck are we supposed to oil it? Well, you gotta oil these pivots before you put the plate on. You gotta, put oil in each pivot and then put a gear on. We're not gonna do that quite yet. We are going to get this little gear that slides in here. I'm surprised this wasn't riveted on. This just goes in the plate here. Take it like that, and it just slides in there. And then away you go. So I think does that need any oil? Probably does. I'm gonna get oiling right now, actually. Right off the bat, you can see that there's actually wear. There's a nice wear line along there, so that's great. This, the inner face of that gear has been scraping up against that, so we better do something about that. So I'm gonna put a little drop of oil here and there, and then we can slide our gear in there. There we go. It should be good now. And now we don't have to worry about that. Now our center wheel has to go in. Okay, well, this we have access to from the opposite side, but there's still a wear line right along here, so I'm gonna a little dab there as well. You don't have to add much, viewers. You don't lather it on. Okay, there we go. What else have we got? We got our wheel here. Okay, we're gonna oil that pivot. There we go. Yeah, we have no access to this on the opposite side, so, what do? You got to do it now. There we go. There's all that. Oil that pivot there. A little bit out. But this has a gear kind of face on it. You know, there's a gear rubbing up against something on here, so. Oops, jeepers. Come on. Yeah, it took me a few minutes to think, how am I going to lubricate this thing? Well, this is how. This is the only way I can really think of doing this. If you haven't guessed already, viewers, yes, I am an amateur. Okay. Let's see here. Well, that little drop there. Stick this wheel in there. There we go. Stick our escape wheel in. Actually, you can see. I think you can see that like perfectly right. Oh no, you can't. To adjust this. Now for our escape wheel. A thing about the escape wheel is both sides of it are basically the same looking, unless you investigate the teeth. Well, Greg, which way does it go back together? That way or this way? Well, if we look back at the video before I disassembled the movement, you can see which way they're going. And of course, we're going to put it back the way it was. Oops. Come on. Come on, there we go. You may not be able to see the pallet fork pivot very well, but it's in the shadow of the escape wheel. Put a little drop there. There we go. Oops. Now, viewers, I would show me putting the top plate on, but even with a small movement like this, it is really fiddly. You know, viewers, I can't really blame whoever doesn't want to film a movement being assembled. And I also don't blame those who record this stuff, because I did not remember where the nuts and stuff go. There's a spacer here, there's this pole here, and then there's this nut here. I ended up taking this thing apart a second time off camera, because I thought that there needed to be one here and here. No, there's spacers here, but they're built into the pillar. Anyway, yeah, so, well, that's the wrong one. There we go. And this one goes on here. Perfect. And this should work a little bit better. I'm just testing our escapement out. It seems to kind of, whoops. Come on, I'm just trying to turn the great wheel right now. We're kind of running, I think. I don't know, we're gonna have to assemble this, and I'm not gonna grease the spring quite yet. I'm gonna put it on right away here. I'm gonna grease it, I'm sorry, what am I saying? I'm not going to grease it. Brutal, hey viewers, and I grabbed the wrong great wheel. And we have to oil this. Oh my goodness, a big hair came with that. Gotta keep hairs out of these things. I think we actually have access to this side, don't we? Oh, maybe we do. Whatever, I'm gonna put, it seems there's wear here. You can see a line where it's been kind of digging in there, so. You want to prevent as much wear as possible, because that develops problems. So, yeah, that's not something you want on a movement like this. Okay, let's put this in. There we go. There's our great one. Actually, I should put the spring on here first. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, man. Yeah, I take the spring off camera for 2 seconds. I end up hooking it on. Nice. Okay, let's get this in here. Let's get this all bound up in here. You can sort of see why this is, where there's a spacer there now. Okay, let's get that in. On you go. Okay, there we go, there we go, there we go. Once again, very fiddly, as I've said, viewers, a lot of times in this series. Yeah, that's a lot of these movements. They're just fiddly. Okay, let's put our balance wheel back on. Actually, no, I should grease this. Actually, no, I shouldn't grease that, because just for handling purposes, this is going to be very inconvenient. Well, then again, if it's got this cover over it, you know, just this thing needs to be in here. If it's got that on it, maybe I'll just start with greasing the inner coils, and I'll do the rest after. I think that'd be a little smarter. Yeah, you don't want to be putting one of these together and just getting grease all over yourself. Because then you touch stuff, and then that has the grease that's supposed to be elsewhere, and oh, it's a mess. Okay, And just kind of go around here a bit. Actually, I'm just going to put big globs of grease in there. That was not big. Okay. This thing has some wear on it as well, this spring cover. There we go. Very good. So I'm going to pop the top, I'm going to pop the cover back on. Oops. There we go. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, that didn't go. Oh, man, that's a little... There we go. There we go. Put this on. Oops. Put our first nut on there. There we go. It's a little pushed up a bit. That's not what I want. Yeah. There we go. There's that. As for this one, yeah, I might be giving you guys kind of crap camera work this episode. Flip it over, put the key in. There we go. There's bunching up there, as it should. The grease is being pushed together and smeared around, I can see. That is not half bad. There we go. Oh, it's also being pushed out. Interesting. Tighten these pillar nuts up a little bit. Make sure they're nice and straight. The reason why, and usually I wouldn't wind the thing up all the way before I've even tested how the gear train works, but usually you don't wind these things up all the way. The reason I did with this is because, first of all, with the spring out like that, it's in the way, and plus this was kind of a little bit up, like it wasn't bent, but it wasn't quite sitting at the right position, and I think that was because the way the spring might have just been sitting at the time. It might have had more to do with the way I put it in, not that I did it wrong. I don't know, it's one of those things where it's just ever so slightly moved to one side or whatever, and you just kind of, I don't know, it's corrected now that it's wound up. Anyway, let's try our escapement here. Check that out. How about that, viewers? That's exactly how this is supposed to work. Perfect. So it appears our whole closing job has done it. We've got a, well, I'm not going to say working movement yet. We're going to finish oiling it. And yeah, I know I'm using this, using this key here. Yeah, we're going to finish oiling it up, and we're going to test it out. This apparently is supposed to run for 8 days, so we're going to see how long we can get this to run for. I'm very interested to see what the results are. Okay, let's oil it up now. I don't want to leave my oil bottle open for much longer here. Actually, no, I shouldn't oil it. No, shouldn't do it. Shouldn't do it. Reason being, I don't want to fool around with the hairspring and balance wheel and get a bunch of oil all over my hands while I'm trying to maneuver the movement around. And what we've done here, we've got it rigged up in this, oh man, as it falls over. We've got it rigged up in this, this classic device here, the gift basket special thing that held something at one point. And since it keeps falling over, we're going to have to put some weight in here. First order of business would be to actually get our balance wheel in. So we're going to undo this screw here. Undo our screw on the top plate. Come on. There we go. That is up. And now we will put our wheel in. I'm going to have to use the tweezers. Oh, yikes. It's falling down. We get a movement down, boys. Here, okay. I know you can't see the balance because I've got my finger over it. And it's precarious positions like this that make this just a delight. Okay, there we go. We've got our balance wheel in, so we're gonna see if we can adjust it. Yeah, it's a struggle to find a good little jig for this thing to actually sit on here. Let's see, what can we do? I guess we'll just work on it like this now. And we've got our balance wheel actually installed, so let's get where's the nice toothpick to use? There we go. I can just put our hairspring, which, by the way, is somewhat mangled here a little bit. Oh, you know what? Will you even be able to see that? I don't know. I guess the moral of the story is get the hairspring through the regulator and through the stud and then pin it. I don't think I'll really be able to show this one off just because of how awkward this one is to handle. So we've gone in now and we've installed our taper pin, and I believe it was installed backwards by whoever worked on this last. And oh man, yeah, it's sure running. It's been running for almost a day now. This movement needed a little bit of adjusting to get to run. It didn't really want to run when I first installed the balance wheel. But after adjusting this wheel here, which was actually, if you look at it now, the gear teeth, they, I don't know if it'd be connected would be the right word, but they interact with the gear teeth on the center wheel. And this wheel had somehow, in the reassembly process, slid forward a bit, and now it was jammed under the center wheel, and it was really holding this up. Well, I ended up knocking it out with a screwdriver, just gave it a tap, and it slid into place. Then it was running a lot better. And then after that, it was a matter of tightening this nut here up, because it still didn't run perfect. This nut here was loose, tightened that up, clock stopped, unscrewed the balance cup just a little bit, and we got what we're getting now. See, if you held it the wrong way before, or whatever, it would slow down. It wouldn't stop, but it'd slow down. Also, minor adjustments to the regulator would also stop the clock as well. So, now none of that happens, so we're running good now. And, yeah, that's a lot of grease. Yeah, that's a lot to look at there. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to let this run for the full 8 days. And we're going to see if it stops during this time. It seems to be running good now. I hope it doesn't stop. We also oiled it up. So we're nice and oiled there. On this side. I showed the other side on camera. And yeah, hopefully we should be good. So I'm going to leave this part here for now. And we'll reassemble it in the next part of this series here. So, anyway, viewers, I hope you guys got something out of this. I know I didn't show the oiling or any of these other adjustments, but it just goes to show a little adjustment can make a world of difference.